Hi everyone. This is my first ever YouTube video, so bear with me. Um, Hopefully we'll in the future get better angles and such. But welcome to my channel. My name's Larissa. I am 32 years old. I am considering getting a vertical gastric sleeve surgery. I have my first intake appointment with a doctor on Monday, the 25th of March, 2019, and I have mixed emotions. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I am kind of nervous that I'll be told that, oh, you don't weigh enough. Get out of here. You've lost weight in the past. Do it again. A little bit of history about my weight and my weight loss journey is I've been heavy most of my life. Most of my childhood, I was pretty heavy, but I was active. I was a very avid softball player. I was a catcher, so I was all over the back of the plate, and I was really strong. My legs were really strong. I did work out, not in a cardio sense, but more in a weightlifting sense. I was never really fit, like tone, but I was definitely fit. I could do things. So it didn't really bother me as much until I was about 13. And that's when every girl starts to notice her body, notices imperfections, notices other girls' bodies, and notices that they don't look the same way. And boys start to become a thing. And it really made an impact on my self-esteem growing up, the way that I look at myself, the way that I thought about myself and thought about in comparison to other people around me. And it shaped me a lot in personality, which it shaped me for good and it shaped me for bad. I am very strong in personality. I kind of don't really care what other people think. I'm more focused on what I think. But it also made me very afraid of bullying in the aspect of I didn't want to deal with it. Not in the fact that I was afraid, I just didn't want to have to deal with it because it was just one more stupid thing you have to deal with as a teenager. My mom actually was diagnosed as morbidly obese when I was around 18, and I was a senior in high school, and she actually had to undergo a gastric sleeve or a gastric bypass, Roux-en-Y, and she was around 400 pounds. And at the time, I didn't see her as 400 pounds. I mean, she was heavy, but all the women in my family are pretty much heavy, save for like 3. And so being heavy wasn't a big deal. But when the moment that I realized that being heavy could be a health concern, that it was really the main reason for heart attacks and diabetes and strokes in my family, and that my mom could be taken for me because of diabetes or heart attack or a stroke or any of those things just because of her weight, it kind of clicked with me. And I think it clicked with my dad too, because he came home and threw out everything that had any type of carb or sugar in it, and we were basically on the same diet she was on in the beginning, leading up to weight loss surgery. And it was hard for her, and I remember her struggle, and I remember the liquid diets, and I remember the pureed food. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, that's completely unattainable. I would never be able to do that to myself. So I lost a significant amount of weight. I lost 90 pounds, and I was a normal weight. I was like within I think I was around 150 pounds and 145 pounds. And like at the time I looked great. I looked wonderful. I had just started college. I felt great. I was getting attention. I mean, I had a steady boyfriend at the time, but I was getting attention from other guys, and it was different and it was fun. And like, I liked being active. My boyfriend at the time was very active. We went on lots of walks and hikes, and we, did a lot of things outdoors. And I was able to do that with him because I was small, and something that I would have never done before. I then a few years later, well, I lost 90 pounds, but then I discovered the BMI chart and realized that um, my ideal weight was 125 pounds, and I thought, oh well, I'm way away from that. I'm just inside the like the end of my healthy BMI, and I kind of became obsessed with BMI, and I became obsessed with that 125 number, and well, I'm 5'3", so and I'm of stocky Ukrainian descent, and I am very muscular as a person. Like when I start to like really lift weights or work out, like my body is strong. So and from all those years of catching and stuff, I developed good musculature. But I sorry, I've got four dogs running around. And I'm sorry that this is so shaky. I'm trying to hold it as still as possible. I'm gonna hopefully get something to hold this up in the future. But but anyway, sorry. I I forget where I was. Oh, anyway, so I became obsessed with this 125 number, and I couldn't achieve it by the diet, that the low carb, high protein diet that I was on. I couldn't achieve it. I was working out. I began working out instead of 1 hour a day. I was working out 2 hours a day. I was doing tons of cardio. I was doing two hit workouts a day. I was becoming a little obsessed. I had gotten a job. Well, I was going to college and I had a job at a pet store. So I tried to become very, very physically active while I was at work. I did everything, moving. I was always moving. Well, finally, to, I had heard about throwing up. I thought one day, well, what if I get rid of one meal of the day? What if I just stop eating? Well, then my parents started noticing I wasn't eating because I was still living with them at dinner time, and they started to get upset. So I decided, well, I'll eat in front of them so they see me eating. But at night, once they go to bed, right after dinner, I'll go throw up in my room. And I did that for probably like 2 or 3 years after I started doing that. And then I got engaged to my current wonderful husband. And at that point, I started to realize that I might have a problem and that I should probably work on it. I had looked at pictures of myself and started realizing that I didn't look good. I was 135 pounds. I looked bad. I didn't look healthy at all. My cheeks were sunken, and I just didn't look healthy, and I just didn't look right. And you could tell that there was like stuff. I was losing hair. And it was just things that didn't look very good. And I went to the bookstore one day, and I decided to kind of mosey on over to the self-help section, and there was a book. It said, eating disorders. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to look at this. I don't know what drew me there. I just decided I was going to go over there. So I opened it up, and I'm reading about the different ones, and I come across bulimia, and I'm like, and binging, purging, and well, at the time I really wasn't binging, I was just purging. So I was scared by this article that I was reading in this book, this chapter, about the things that can happen to you with binging, purging, damage to your esophagus, teeth damage, which actually I have lost. I don't know if you can see, I actually have lost a tooth because of this thing, and it's caused a lot of damage to my enamel on my teeth. My teeth are super, super weak, super, super soft. I had to spend a lot of money on dental rework to help fix them. Your stomach exploding, that was great. That was the one that I think got me, was the stomach exploding and the dying. So I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna stop. I'm not gonna do this anymore. So I actually kind of came clean to my fiance at the time. We were living together, and who's now my husband. But I came clean to him. I said, I'm still doing this. I do this, at night, after you go to bed, or so that you don't see me or hear me. I do it in the guest bathroom, and the look in his eyes of heartbreak, and just like, it wasn't even anger, it was just heartbreak that I would do that to myself. And that was like the seal, the wax seal that I said, I'm done, I'm never doing this again. And I realized that too, doing that to my body and eating the way I was eating very little was going to damage my body, and I wouldn't be able to have kids. And having kids is like the number one thing in my life. That was the number one goal. The only thing I've ever wanted was to be a mom. And oh, sorry, my arm's getting tired. So I stopped, and we were a few months away from getting married. And so the moment I stopped, I did put on a little bit of weight, and I had already had my dress fitted. So I did try to lose a little bit of weight before that, and I went to Weight Watchers. And art actually, yeah, no, I did go to Weight Watchers just to get off that little, I think 20 pounds I put on. I think it was a mixture of the stress and the fact that I stopped purging. And so I went to Weight Watchers. I lost that 20 pounds. I continued after we got married because I just wanted to maintain my healthy weight, and I wanted to do it in a healthy way. Weight Watchers is great. I will never knock Weight Watchers. It is a wonderful program, very, very supportive. I only had one negative experience, and it wasn't even with my coach. It was with a substitute coach that we had one time. And it really wasn't, it was just a me and her personality issue. And other than that, it was fine. Met some great people. My whole family's been in Weight Watchers throughout my life. Always successful, as long as you do the program. Never knocking that. Um, the So then I got pregnant in 2009, about 3 or 4 months after we got pregnant, I think, or married. I got pregnant with my first son, and I didn't know how to not gain weight, I guess. I was very active. I had a job. I had a full-time job at the time, and I was constantly moving at that job. Um, I was so afraid, I think, of not eating enough, and I didn't really have an idea of what a pregnancy diet looked like to keep yourself healthy the whole time. I just kind of ate everything, but I was very, very active. So thankfully, I only gained 60 pounds, which people are like, "Oh my God, you gained 60 pounds." But I was also very, very thin, almost to an ill point. Like I was 130 pounds when I got pregnant with him, and it was kind of out of control, like at the end, and so I some of that weight, 20 pounds of that 60 pounds was just getting back to a healthy part of me. But then I gained the 60 pounds. I had him. I only lost like 20. So I was like, I don't remember. I can't really remember. 225, I think, when I finally came home from the hospital with him. It was high. It was back to where I was when I was a kid and a teenager, and I was a little upset by it. But as soon as I was cleared and after I finished breastfeeding him, I went right back to Weight Watchers. It took a little bit. It took about 2 years, 2 or 3 years, but I finally got the weight off. I did it perfectly healthy, didn't throw up, I wasn't even using diet pills at that time because I was just like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to have more kids. I don't want to put any of that stuff in my body. I did lose a lot of that weight. I think I finally made it down to about 150, 160, I think. And I got pregnant again. And unfortunately, I had a 12-week miscarriage that time, and it was devastating to say the least. I mean, I won't even get into all the details of how it affected me, and still affects me at this moment. And anyone that's ever lost a child at any stage knows that it changes you forever. Um, I took that really hard, and because I'm an emotional eater, I basically ate my feelings. And I'm an outwardly strong person, so I didn't want people to see me cry. So I basically, if I even felt like I might cry, I ate, and the endorphins flooded me, and I felt a little bit better. But anyway, so I put on a good amount of weight, and I was like, oh, this is never going to work. I don't want to get pregnant again. And my husband and I were like, let's try again. And but I was so heavy again that I was like, oh, I don't want to be this heavy. So I went back to Weight Watchers because I had obviously stopped going because I wasn't doing the program. So I wasn't going to waste the money. So I went back. I lost maybe like 20, 25 pounds and got pregnant again. So I was a little heavier the second time around, but I wasn't huge at this time, but I was definitely a little heavier. And that pregnancy went pretty well. The only problem I was having, found out I had some kind of like heart murmur, and I had low magnesium levels. The pregnancy was stripping me of my magnesium, so I was put on magnesium. I kept having heart flutters anytime I do anything overly active. Um, so I had to like really reduce my activity. I was basically just walking, um, very little, unfortunately. But yeah, that pregnancy kind of knocked me down a little bit, and then I gained probably another 40 pounds with him. I tried to stay as close to my Weight Watcher diet as I could when I was pregnant with him, so I only gained 40 pounds. But when you're already overweight and you gain 40 pounds, it's no fun. Um, so I had him. Everything was fine. I nursed him for a good 6 months, 6 and 8 months, I think. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm done. And after I finished nursing him, I decided to start focusing on my weight again. I got back on Weight Watchers. And this time, very little occurred. Little bits of weight would come off every couple of weeks. And I was following the diet. I was doing everything I did before. I was working out. I had 2 kids at this point, and one was in pre-K and one was at home. So I should have been able to lose the weight because I was working out. I was still being a housewife, cleaning like crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. I have some clean folded clothes over there. I didn't mean to put those in this group. But anyway, I should have lost the weight, and it was weird for me to have not lost the weight because I was always successful in the past, and I started noticing things about me like hormonal wise. I was like, oh, things just aren't right. I was having really crazy periods. I actually bled so bad that I was wearing, it was like being out of the hospital right after you have your C-section or have a baby in general. It was bleeding like that, and I was way I shouldn't be bleeding like that anymore. So I went to my doctor. Oh, I was having severe pain in my like around my ovaries and stuff, and I thought maybe it was a complication from my C-section, but it had been almost a year. So I was like, what's going on? Well, anyway, I was diagnosed with PCOS. Yay! Anybody who has PCOS knows that losing weight with PCOS is a pain in the dupa. And it basically is like my Achilles heel. It doesn't matter how hard I try, doesn't matter what I'm doing. It seems like I'll lose a teeny tiny, I'll be like, oh good, I've lost like 15 pounds. Wow, awesome. It took me 3 months, but I lost 15 pounds. Yay. And then I spend one night out at dinner or something, and I've gained half of that back. And it's very disheartening, stressful. It's not an excuse, but it's a huge hurdle. It's something that you have to constantly kick and fight and kick away at, and you seem like you're not getting chipping away at, and it's never going to end. And then not long after the PCOS diagnosis and I got all that taken care of, I was then diagnosed with I started having severe gallbladder pain to the point where I was laying down on the floor. Um, I started a PCOS diet, which was a lower carb diet, higher protein. And after that, I started having terrible gallbladder pain. I've had gallbladder pain my whole life. My whole family, basically all the women in my family, have had their gallbladders removed. Terrible gallbladder pain. And it just got worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where I was laying on the floor crying in a heap. And my husband finally he took me to the ER because he was like, this gotta stop. And they were like, yeah, you've got gallstones, your gallbladder's inflamed. So they were like, we should probably remove it. We're gonna set you up with a surgeon. So got set up with a surgeon, got it removed. My life has been a lot better since. I still do get gallstones though. I know that sounds crazy, but if I eat too much fat, I get pain. So keto is not a good thing for somebody who's had their gallbladder removed, or at least for me anyway. But anyway, so I now have had my third child after my gallbladder surgery. I got pregnant maybe like a year later. I was 230 pounds when I got pregnant with him. I honestly did not think I was going to get pregnant. I had started like a new workout program and everything. And like, I was like dedicated to losing the weight like crazy again. And all of a sudden I lost 15 to 20 pounds and I got pregnant again. And I was like, oh no, this is okay. Oh well. Like, and I spent most of that pregnancy, actually, I did really, really good. I only gained like 30 to 40 pounds with him. I think 50 pounds, and then he was out, and then I lost like 20 pounds because he came out. So I didn't gain as much with him as I really thought I was going to, because I was trying to be as careful as possible, because I had to be, I was not as active with him because he was so heavy. The only thing I could do was yoga, basically, and it was stretch yoga. It wasn't even strength yoga as much. I had severe back pain with him. My hip was, it's out of place because of him. It was putting pressure on my tailbone. I couldn't stand to do dishes. It was horrible, and like I couldn't wait for him to come out. Luckily, he was a scheduled C-section, so I knew there was an end at the of the tunnel. But I love him. He's a great baby. He came out 9 pounds, which some people are probably like, oh, it's nothing. But for me, I had 8 pound little skinny babies, and I had this huge 9 pound honker who is only 9 months at this moment, and he is in 24-month clothes. So that's just an idea of how big he is. He's beautiful. He's awesome, but he's huge. And well, I only nursed him for about 3 months. We were playing this game of catch up since he was born, and I got to a point where I was like, he's nursed for 3 months. I had a little bit of a stash. I was like, he'll be good for a few months. He's gotten the first few months. He's been on a mix of formula and breast milk since the day he was born. It wasn't a big deal. He was already getting formula. It's happening. And now he still gets a mix of my breast milk that I stashed away. I wasn't playing catch up anymore, and I hate pumping. If anybody pumps, breast pumps, it is no bueno, no fun. No one wants to do it, but we do it because we love our babies. But I now have 3 kids. One of my children is autistic. My oldest child is autistic, and my life is a roller coaster of fun and happiness. So I was like, I'm not stressing myself out. I'm not doing this to myself. I don't want to be the stressed out, crazy mom who, you know, is yelling at everybody around her because she's pumping like a dairy cow. That's how I felt. If you pump, more power to you. If you can do it and not feel like a lunatic, I applaud you because you're a stronger woman than I am. But anyway, so now I am looking to lose weight. I've had him, he's 9 months. Well, so at 3 months I stopped breastfeeding. So at 3 months I was like, okay, good. I can really focus on weight loss. Oh, I also had a tubal ligation, so no more babies. But so this time I'm like, okay, I don't have to worry about putting babies in my body anymore. I don't have to worry. I can kind of push myself a little further. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Nutrisystem, because I didn't want to go back to Weight Watchers yet. I feel like I've spent so much money on Weight Watchers in my life. And the lady that does it, the group, I don't have the time to go to the group. That's the thing, is the group is like a Monday night thing. And I've got 3 kids, and they're young kids, so I just don't have the time to go to this group every single Monday. And if I don't go to group, I'm not successful on the plan. So I decided I'll try Nutrisystem, and if this fails, maybe I'll go back to Weight Watchers. So I tried Nutrisystem. It worked great. Nutrisystem, great, wonderful. I ate the food, did what I was supposed to do. I was working out. I wasn't even working out a lot. I was only doing walking with Leslie Sansone because of low impact for my knees, and my back still hurts from that pregnancy. And I lost like 20 pounds, and I did it for about 3 months. But I realized that I'd spent a little over like $700. Actually, I think it was more than that on the plan and stuff. And we're not poor, but we're not like rolling in the dough. And I felt kind of guilty for spending that much money on this weight loss food. And it did start to become a problem with my life. Like at first I was like, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm losing. But then I started to, like, I lost a lot at the first, but then I started to like lose a pound every other week. And I was like, oh, this is not good. And I was working out. I even changed my workouts, and it just wasn't, things were starting to slow down. So I started to get discouraged a little bit, and I started like I guess I was taking my food, to go to like family gatherings and things like that, and it started to irritate me. And I was irritated that I wasn't losing weight and I was spending buku bucks on this food. I'm sure it works great for other people who can afford to spend that kind of money on, but it just wasn't working out for me. So then I was like, well, what am I going to do? And, I was like, I got to lose weight. I have to do it. And we had tried 21 Day Fix again. And 21 Day Fix is really, really good if you want to lose, like, if you, like, for muscle and stuff. For me, it worked great for physical activity. I'm at a way better physical level now. But I was barely losing any weight. Um, my muscles felt strong, yeah, and but I really wasn't losing inches either. I wasn't losing inches. I maybe lost like a half an inch after 3 rounds, and or 2 rounds, and I was just like, ugh, this isn't. I'm hurting all the time, and I'm not losing any weight, and I'm not losing any inches. So it was just driving me kind of nuts. So then I was like, okay, Larissa, what was the first thing you did to lose 90 pounds? Go back to the beginning, go back to the basics. And I was like, low carb. So, but then I started searching online for, low carb ideas, getting really back into it. I knew Atkins had changed a little bit. So I was like, well, what's Atkins doing right now? South Beach. And then I came across keto diet. And, I was like, well, okay, this is doable. It sounds like a higher fat version of the South Beach because you get to eat berries, spinach, leafy greens and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I could do that. That I could do, and it's delicious. You get to eat bacon, you get to eat avocados, you get to, and so I started doing that, and things went really good. I did it for, I think I've been doing it for 2 months. Yeah, 2 months, and everything was good. And then all of a sudden, I started getting gallstones. And if you don't have a gallbladder, at least in my situation, my gallbladder was smashed between my liver, and it was like basically tucked under it, and it was in a weird position. Well, the duct then, that you still have a bile duct, even if your gallbladder's removed, you still have the bile duct, and your body still produces bile. It just doesn't sit in that pouch and sludge up. So what was happening was I was getting little gallstones, and I was having a little bit of sludge, a normal amount of sludge, but because my gallbladder was smashed, it wasn't able to push things through, and it was creating really big gallstones. Well, I'm still somehow producing gallstones, and they're going through the flap, and it's very painful. Not as painful as it was, but it hurts, and it's very uncomfortable, and it lasts for most of the day. And once they pass, it's a lot better. But I can't. And then I also started getting acid reflux, and I don't know if it's just a stress thing because of the gallstones. Like when I'm stressed, I'll get acid reflux, but I don't know if it was like a combination of the two. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Because I was enjoying it. I lost weight. I was doing really good. And then all of a sudden these digestive issues start happening. And so like I spent probably 2 or 3 weeks, like I was drinking those Atkins shakes, which are not full complete nutrition, but they're delicious. So I was drinking those, and those were helpful, but I wasn't really losing any weight with them. I was kind of trying to ketoize them without putting too much fat in them, but that didn't work at first. So now I'm just drinking Atkins shakes, which are good. And I'm not gonna, but they're not full nutrition, so I'm worried I'm not getting all the nutrition I need. But so I'm trying to follow a low carb, but I'm not losing anything. I'm not losing weight. I actually gained 5 pounds, and I don't know I don't know what I did. I don't know. I have no idea. I gained 5 pounds, but no, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I cheated. That's, we all cheat, but I did cheat. If there's been a couple birthdays and there's been some family stress, so I definitely cheated. And I'm not using an excuse. I'm just saying I cheated. But I kind of thought to myself, I need another tool, because obviously the tools that I have are not adequate, and I need another tool. And I know that they've come very, very far in gastric bypass, because back when I said my mom had gastric bypass, she had the old style, which was not laparoscopic, which is they basically split her right down the middle and had to move everything out of the way, and then did her gastric bypass. And she had a huge scar. It was like a 6 to 8 week recovery period, huge abdominal surgery. But I know that they've made a lot of progress in the past few years. So I looked into it, and I'm thinking that gastric sleeve surgery is probably more my speed. And I'm really, really looking forward to moving on in this life. And I'm really, really, I'm thinking I'm going to continue to document. I want to try to provide as much documentation as I can. I've never really done YouTube videos, so we'll see how this works. I've seen a lot of, but I don't have a lot of information on this, like from other people. Like there's not tons of testimonials. There's some testimonials for gastric sleeve, but there's not a lot as much as I'd want. And I want to kind of be a voice and a help, and maybe the reason why other people get the surgery, because I want to help to maybe like show and share my experience, and document every bit of this, because this is going to be a pivotal, life-changing moment for me. And I just want to, remember it forever, if anything else, even if no one follows me or watches me. But yeah, so stay tuned. I'll do another video after my first doctor's appointment to kind of let you know, like, where I'm getting the surgery, where I am in the beginning, what my diet's going to look like for the 3-month evaluation period, what's going to be expected, because we all know that insurance, basically, if you're not going to Mexico, insurance has a huge, like, process you have to go through before you can even get the surgery, which I think is definitely needed. So yeah, so I will hopefully be back within a few days with that. Thanks for your time. See you later.